Last night, J.D. Vance went on Laura Ingram's program. Laura Ingram asked him a very leading question, shocked face, about suburban women and Republican struggles with them, as we get a new story seemingly every day about how J.D. Vance views women and families in this extremely retrograde,
maybe the most ill-advised
way.
Maybe the most ill-advised podcast circuit in the history of politics.
The latest one, and we'll get to that later, was him going, of course, on one of the Weinstein's podcasts. And
the one that works for Peter Thiel.
The one who's the managing director of his firm, and said that grandmothers are aka postmenopausal females, are there to help parents raise children. This is a normal way that you talk about women, apparently. So, like, suburban women are a little turned off by this. And Laura's like, I don't understand that. But this is her question to him. Oh, no sound.
JD, one of my, Senator, excuse me, I still call you JD. Senator, one of my dear friends tonight said to me, well, all these suburban women, all they care about is abortion, and they don't understand that decision is with the states now. It's not banned nationally, even if some people want it to be banned nationally. It's with the states. What do you say to suburban women out there who are marinating in this propaganda?
Well, first of all, I don't buy that, Laura. I think most suburban women care about the normal things that most Americans care about, right? They care about inflation. They care about the price of groceries. They care about public safety in the streets where their kids play. Look, as Donald Trump has said, he wants the American people at the state level to decide abortion policy. And you compare that to the Democrats who want to do nationalized, taxpayer-funded abortion up to the moment of birth. I think Donald Trump is actually trying to identify the reasonable compromise where he lets California figure out its abortion policy, Alabama and Ohio figure out their abortion policy. That is actually the common sense approach, and it's the approach that's most respectful of the American people. The Democrats are obsessed with late-term abortion and making sure taxpayers fund it. Obviously, Republicans disagree with that, but I think that Donald Trump has charted a very reasonable course for the American people. Let the American people decide this. The federal government, we're going to focus on securing that border and bringing down the cost of groceries and housing.
Okay, so that is, by the way, not true. I don't know why I have to do this every time because, well, I have to because they keep repeating this lie that the Democrats want federally funded abortion. There's something called the Hyde Amendment that makes that actually illegal.
Which we should get rid of.
Which we should get rid of, yes. But that's not in the platform for the Democrats at this point, because we should get rid of it because we should have socialized health care where all care is included, including trans-affirming care and abortion care. But we're not expecting that right now.
The thing we're
Democrats are not running on that at all.
What the reframe needs to be, what we're saying we don't need until birth is any sort of GOP lawyers or judges getting involved in the healthcare decisions of women. That's very simple. That's what we need. We don't need you. If doctors make that decision about like late-term abortions based on emergency situations, we don't need none of y'all to be statutorily defining things or making there certain things like penalties. Stay out of it.
But that's why the Walz attack where he says mind your own damn business is so effective, because that's exactly right. We'll be talking in a bit with Matt McManus about like the concept of liberal socialism and reclaiming liberalism for rights while also pushing for like robust state policy to make people's lives better. And that's something that, I think is a really compelling argument. And I'm not expecting socialism or anything close to it from the Walz or the Harris-Walz ticket. But that kind of reframe for the Democratic Party with a more Keynesian economic model is a refreshing change from the neoliberal era of Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, etc.
Not just about privacy.
Exactly. And about liberty in the marketplace, too. Their version of liberalism. But just to fact check him, 91% of all abortions are performed in the first trimester. Around 99% of abortions are performed during the first 20 weeks. Democrats don't want to have death squads executing babies when they come out of the womb. That's not a thing.
I don't know.
The 1% that is there are for fetal abnormalities and when the life of the mother is in question. And why these laws are so harmful is because when you're in a medical emergency like that, you can't have the threat of like prosecution of the doctor or legal liability before they can go through all of these hoops to determine an exception, because someone's life, or say like their reproductive health, as is the case in that example from the woman from Texas who wasn't able to get an abortion, so she was damaged to the point where she can't have children anymore. That is why you can't have these laws, because they are the exceptions that even the Republicans gesture towards are non-actionable.
Two considerations that should not come into women's healthcare, or any healthcare for that matter, is what do J.D. Vance and his Republican friends think about this?
Yeah.
And what do the profit makers at the top of this think about this?
Well, okay, but so, the suburban women have been marinating in this propaganda, though. I mean, they've been marinating in those cold, hard facts that I just laid out for you about what abortion really means in practice. Let's just see what this incredible well, yeah, I'm being sarcastic, overly so. It's ridiculous. But like, the point is that they're scared about this because suburban women really are something that Republicans need to win over. That's how Trump won. The only time that he did win in 2016 was particularly white suburban women. But that's not happening right now. This is Frank Luntz on CNBC. And look, he's a Republican pollster, but some of this information I actually think is credible and flies in the face of what Laura Ingraham and Vance are trying to portray there.
President Harris gaining ground in some swing states and even eroding some of former President Trump's lead in Florida. Our next guest says if the election were held today, she would win. Joining us right now is pollster and political strategist Frank Luntz. That's a turn.
It's more than that.
That's a plot twist.
She's bringing out people who are not interested in voting for either Trump or Biden. So the entire electoral pool has changed. And if it continues in this direction, you have to start to consider Democrats winning the Senate and Democrats winning the House. The actual people who are participating, she's got intensity now. She's got an intensity advantage. She's got a demographic advantage. And I haven't seen anything like this happen in 30 days in my lifetime.
How big is that marginal extra voter that she's bringing in? I mean, how much does that change the pool?
1%, maybe 2%. That's it. But that's enough.
Right.
Can I just ask you, though, about the veracity, frankly, of the polls right now? Because you go back and look, and there was an interesting report yesterday showing that if you look at where Donald Trump was in terms of what the polling showed, this is back in 2016, undercounted. You go even in 2020, undercounted. And so, you start to think about the, margin of error situation where maybe she's up, 1 or 2%. But, is the Trump vote fully counted?
But that's why my process is not just to do the numbers. It's also to do the focus groups, to listen, to understand why people feel this way. And now my groups are broken up by young women saying, I'm not voting for him anymore. Make no mistake, there are 3 attributes, 3 components.
You think it's a switch? It's not, because you just said, I'm not voting for them anymore. So you think they were voting for Donald Trump, and now they're voting for Harris?
The people who are undecided have all collapsed towards Harris. The people who are weak Trump have all collapsed towards undecided. It's this broad shift. I'm trying to do a focus group tonight with undecided voters under the age of 27 for a major news outlet. And I can't recruit young women to this because they don't exist as undecided voters. And you shift the demographics and you shift the entire outcome. There are issues, attributes, and the conditions of the country. The issues and conditions favor Donald Trump. He should be winning this election. But the attributes are so much in Harris's favor that he's not. That the very attributes that Trump offers, and the best example, you did the story on the UAW, why is Donald Trump saying publicly, I want to fire the same people that he's getting now, still getting union members? It's ridiculous. It's as though he's lost control. And I know that there are billionaires who watch this show who are spending a lot of money on Donald Trump, and they don't understand why he's committing political suicide.
Political suicide, say the billionaires that are watching CNBC. I mean, these are the relevant people that Frank Luntz is appealing to here. But
I like to go right from, I don't understand why he's attacking firing laborers for unionizing, and then also the billionaires are upset that he's, but you know, that's probably, that's a tough coalition, I think, to keep together. Right.
There have been, I mean, so to be fair to J.D. Vance and Laura Ingraham, when they're talking about suburban women, I guess under 27, them females being undecided, or not being undecided, being breaking entirely towards Harris, maybe doesn't say exactly what it looks like for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance as it relates to suburban women and mothers in suburbia, right? Perhaps they're more in the 35 to 50-year-old age group. But it doesn't look good. And that dynamic is playing out across polling. And it's not just Luntz's anecdotes, like the double hater dynamic that Nate Cohn wrote about.
Shout out to all the double haters. Your instincts were correct.
Yes, we were the double haters. We could say we are kind of, we're not representative of anything given our level of political interest. But I was a double hater to a degree, although I, always advocate really voting for Democrats for harm reduction purposes. Although this was the first time I was like, genocide, Joe, man. But there is like the double hater dynamic was that people were going to just sit out the election entirely. And that more than halved after Biden dropped out and Harris came into the race. The point was that nobody wanted either of these two guys again. And now it's about like the change candidate, and she has that on her side.
I would like to thank Hollywood for making Americans so sick of sequels that they basically naturally term limit these people out.
Right. Right, exactly.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.